27 nurses, 27 failures. 27 times Kang Junwoo had hired someone to keep his dying daughter alive through the night, and 27 times they'd treated her like a checklist instead of a child. So he did what any Mafia boss would do, installed cameras everywhere and watched. Every breath, every moment, every person who entered his 8-year-old's room. Then the new caretaker walked in. Foreign woman, tired eyes. She checked the IV, adjusted the oxygen, looked around the room like she was cataloging exits. And then she did something that made every man in his security room go silent. She looked directly at the camera, not past it, at it, waved, then bent down and whispered something that made his blood stop. "I know you're watching, Mr. Kang. You can come in if you want, or you can keep hiding in your surveillance room like a coward." His security chief's hand moved to his weapon. Junwoo stood, jaw clenched. No one called him a coward. He was in his daughter's room in 30 seconds. The woman looked up, completely unbothered. "Are you going to stand there looking scary, or are you going to help me keep your daughter alive?" Hey there. You know that feeling when you say something you can't take back and immediately think, did I just ruin my entire life? Nadia just experienced that. Except the person she called a coward can make people disappear. Do you think she crossed the line or told the truth he needed to hear? Drop your answer and subscribe because his response is wild. Let's go. Junwoo rewound the footage, watched her again. The way she moved around his daughter's bed wasn't clinical. It was protective, like she actually cared whether a dying 8-year-old girl made it through the night. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing as the woman checked the IV line, adjusted the oxygen tube, then sat in the chair beside the bed and opened a book. Not a medical journal. A children's story, in Arabic first, then broken, Korean, then English. His daughter, Min-ji, who hadn't smiled in 4 months, turned her head slightly toward the sound. Junwoo's jaw tightened. He'd installed the cameras 3 weeks ago after the last nurse had been caught scrolling through her phone while Min-ji's oxygen levels dropped. The agency promised him the best. They lied. They always lied. So he watched. Every night. Every shift change. Every moment his daughter spent alone because he was too dangerous to be a full-time father. The Mafia didn't take holidays. Neither did his enemies. But this woman, Nadia Hassan, 24, South African, no family in Korea, work visa, clean record, overly qualified for a private caretaker position, which made him suspicious. People didn't take jobs below their skill level unless they were running from something. He made a note to dig deeper. Later that evening, he came home earlier than usual. His penthouse was silent except for the hum of medical equipment. The staff knew better than to linger. He moved through the marble halls, past the bulletproof windows overlooking Seoul's skyline, and stopped outside Min-ji's door. He heard her. Nadia's voice, low and warm, reading something about a lion and a mouse. Min-ji's laughter, small and fragile, floated through the crack in the door. Junwoo's hand froze on the handle. His daughter hadn't laughed since her mother died. He pushed the door open slowly. Nadia looked up, startled. The book clutched against her chest. She stood immediately, smoothing her uniform, eyes darting between him and Min-ji, like she'd been caught doing something wrong. "Mr. Kang," she said quietly, her accent wrapped around his name in a way that made it sound unfamiliar. I didn't hear you come in." He didn't respond, just looked at his daughter, who was sitting up slightly, pillows propped behind her. Her face was still pale, still thin, but her eyes were brighter. "Papa," Min-ji whispered. "Nadia was teaching me about South African stories. Did you know they have a god with a dog's head?" Junwoo's gaze slid back to Nadia. She was petite, maybe 5'3", with dark skin that caught the lamplight and eyes that held something he couldn't read. Fear, maybe, but not of him, of something else. "You're not supposed to stimulate her this late," he said, voice flat. "She needs rest." Nadia's chin lifted slightly. "She needs more than rest, Mr. Kang. She needs reasons to want to get better." The room went silent. No one spoke to him like that. Not his men, not his advisors, definitely not the staff. Minji's small voice broke the tension. "Papa, please don't fire her. She's the only one who doesn't make me feel like I'm dying." Junwoo's chest constricted. He looked at his daughter, then back at Nadia, whose jaw was set, but whose hands were trembling slightly at her sides. "Finish the story," he said finally. "Then she sleeps." He turned and walked out before either of them could respond. In his office, he poured whiskey he wouldn't drink and pulled up Nadia's file again. 3 years working in Cairo hospitals, pediatric care specialist, letters of recommendation from department heads. Then nothing. A 6-month gap before she applied for a visa to South Korea. He picked up his phone and texted his head of security. "Find out what happened in Cairo. I want everything." The response came 2 minutes later. "Already on it, boss. Should have answers by morning." Junwoo set the phone down and walked to the window. Seoul glittered below him, a city he controlled from the shadows. He'd built an empire on fear and precision. He didn't trust easily, didn't let people close, couldn't afford to. But his daughter was dying, and this stranger had made her laugh. That changed things. The next morning, Nadia arrived at 6 a.m. like always. She didn't know Junwoo was already awake, watching her through the surveillance feed as she let herself into Minji's room and checked the overnight logs. She moved, efficiently, professionally, but there was something else. A tenderness in the way she brushed Minji's hair back from her forehead. A quiet hum under her breath as she prepared the morning medications. His phone buzzed. Security. He opened the file. Nadia Hassan, former nurse at Cairo Children's Hospital, terminated after reporting a senior doctor for neglecting critical patients. The doctor was connected to a prominent family. Nadia was blacklisted, couldn't find work in South Africa, fled to Korea on a work visa sponsored by an international care agency. Junwoo read it twice. She'd sacrificed her career to protect children. He closed the file and stood, buttoning his suit jacket. He had a meeting in an hour with a supplier who'd been skimming profits. The man would lose 3 fingers as a reminder. But first, he wanted to see his daughter. When he entered Minji's room, Nadia was helping her sit up for breakfast. She glanced at him briefly, then focused back on Minji, who was struggling to hold the spoon. "Let me help," Nadia said gently, guiding Minji's hand. "I can do it," Minji insisted, stubborn despite her weakness. Nadia smiled. "I know you can. But maybe today we do it together." Junwoo watched from the doorway. His daughter managed 3 bites before exhaustion took over. Nadia didn't push, just set the spoon down and adjusted the pillows. "You did good," Nadia murmured. "Tomorrow we'll try for 4. Minji nodded, eyes already closing. Nadia stood, wiping her hands on her uniform, and finally noticed Junwoo still standing there. "She's getting weaker," he said. Nadia met his gaze. "She's getting tired of fighting alone." "She's not alone. She has doctors, nurses, me. You're not here." The words hit like a blade between the ribs. Junwoo stepped further into the room, and Nadia instinctively stepped back. He noticed the way her breathing quickened, the way her fingers curled into her palms. "I provide everything she needs," he said quietly, dangerously. "Except yourself," Nadia replied. And there it was again. That defiance wrapped in something that looked like genuine concern. Junwoo studied her. She was afraid of him. He could see it in the tension of her shoulders. But she wasn't backing down. "Why did you leave South Africa?" he asked suddenly. Nadia blinked. That's not relevant to... I know what happened. I know why you can't go back." Her face went carefully blank. "Then you know I don't have anywhere else to go. So if you're planning to fire me, I'm not firing you." She stopped, stared at him. "You're the first person my daughter has responded to in months," Junwoo continued. "You'll stay. But if you ever lie to me, if I find out you're here for any reason other than taking care of Minji, you'll regret it. Do you understand?" Nadia's throat moved as she swallowed. "I understand." "Good." He turned to leave, then paused. "And Nadia?" "Yes?" "Thank you. For making her laugh." He left before she could respond. A few days later, Minji had a bad night. Fever spiking, oxygen levels dropping. Junwoo was in a meeting across town when his phone lit up with alerts from the medical monitors. He was in his car within seconds, driver breaking every traffic law to get him home. When he burst through Minji's door, the doctor was already there. So was Nadia, holding his daughter's hand, whispering something in Arabic that sounded like a prayer. "Status!" Junwoo demanded. The doctor didn't look up from adjusting the IV. "Fever broke 20 minutes ago. She's stable now, but it was close." Junwoo's eyes went to Nadia, who was still holding Minji's hand, even though his daughter was asleep now. There were tear tracks on Nadia's face. "You called the doctor," he said. She nodded. "Her temperature hit 40 degrees. I couldn't bring it down fast enough." "You did everything right," the doctor assured her. "Another 5 minutes and we might have lost her." Junwoo felt something cold settle in his stomach. He'd almost lost her. Again. And he hadn't been here. The doctor packed up his equipment and left with instructions for overnight monitoring. The room emptied until it was just Junwoo and Nadia, standing on opposite sides of Minji's bed. "You should go home," he said quietly. "Your shift ended hours ago." Nadia shook her head. "I'll stay. Just in case." "The night nurse. I don't trust the night nurse. Not after tonight." Junwoo's jaw tightened. Neither did he. He'd noticed the woman's delayed responses, her careless handling of the equipment. "I'll replace her," he said. "With who?" "The agency sends the same types. People who see this as just another job." Nadia's voice cracked slightly. "She's not just another job, Mr. Kang. She's a little girl who's terrified of dying alone in the dark." Junwoo moved around the bed slowly. Nadia stood her ground, but he saw her fingers tighten on the bed rail. "What do you suggest?" he asked, voice low. "Let me take the overnight shifts too. I'll sleep here. I won't leave her." "You'll burn out. I've handled worse." He studied her face, the exhaustion around her eyes, the determination in her jaw. This woman had nothing. No family here. No support system. Just a job that barely paid enough for a tiny apartment in a bad part of the city. And she was offering to work herself into the ground for a child that wasn't hers. "Why?" he asked. "Why what? Why do you care this much?" Nadia looked down at Minji's sleeping face. "Because someone should. And because I know what it's like to be scared and alone. No child should feel that way." Something shifted in Junwoo's chest again. That same unfamiliar sensation from the surveillance room. He stepped closer, close enough to see the flecks of gold in Nadia's dark eyes. Close enough to smell the faint scent of lavender she used. "You'll move into the guest suite," he said. "Next door to Minji's room. 24-hour access. Anything you need, you tell me. Understood? Nadia's eyes widened. Mr. Kang, that's not necessary. It's not a request. They stood there, too close, the air between them charged with something neither of them wanted to name. Junwoo saw the moment Nadia's fear shifted into something else. Awareness, maybe. Recognition of the line they were approaching. She stepped back first. I'll need to get my things from my apartment, she said quietly. I'll have them brought here. Give the address to my assistant. You're not leaving this house tonight. His tone left no room for argument. Not after what just happened. Nadia pressed her lips together, then nodded. All right. Get some rest. I'll watch her. Mr. Kang, that's an order, Nadia. She hesitated, then finally walked to the door. She paused there, looking back at him. You're a better father than you think you are. Then she was gone. Junwoo sat in the chair she'd vacated, still warm from her body heat, and watched his daughter breathe, in and out, each breath a small miracle. He thought about Nadia's words, about being there, about Minji fighting alone. He pulled out his phone and made 3 calls. First, to his second-in-command. Redistribute my schedule. Nothing that requires me to leave Seoul for more than 4 hours. Second, to his head of security. I want cameras in every room Nadia Hassan enters, except bedrooms and bathrooms. I need to know if anyone approaches her. Third, to his lawyer. Look into South African immigration law. I want to know what it would take to secure permanent residency for a specific individual. The lawyer didn't ask questions. No one in Junwoo's circle asked questions. By the end of the week, Nadia had settled into the guest suite. It was larger than her entire apartment had been, with a private bathroom and a balcony overlooking the gardens. She spent maybe 3 hours a day in it. The rest of her time was with Minji. Junwoo found himself coming home earlier, canceling evening meetings, making excuses to check on his daughter that really meant checking on Nadia too. He watched her through the surveillance feeds when he couldn't be there. Watched her read to Minji. Watched her sing in Arabic while braiding his daughter's thinning hair. Watched her cry in the hallway after particularly hard days, thinking no one could see. He saw everything, and he wanted her in a way that terrified him. It started small, noticing the way she moved, the curve of her neck when she bent over Minji, the sound of her laugh when his daughter said something unexpectedly funny. Then it grew, became an obsession he couldn't control. He found himself thinking about her during meetings, wondering what she was doing, if she was safe, if she was happy. He increased her salary without telling her, had her apartment lease terminated, and her belongings moved into storage, assigned one of his men to tail her whenever she left the house, which was rarely. He told himself it was about Minji, about protecting the one person who could help his daughter heal. He knew he was lying. One afternoon, Nadia asked permission to take Minji outside. The doctor had approved short trips, fresh air, gentle stimulation. Junwoo arranged for the private garden to be secured. Guards stationed at every entrance, medical equipment on standby. He watched from his office window as Nadia helped Minji into a wheelchair and pushed her through the roses. His daughter's face turned up toward the sun. She was smiling. Junwoo's phone rang. Business. A problem with a shipment at the port. He handled it in 3 sentences and hung up, eyes never leaving the garden. That's when he saw the other man, Dr. Park, Minji's primary physician. Young, competent, too handsome for Junwoo's liking. He'd joined them in the garden, was crouching beside Minji's wheelchair, showing her something on his tablet. Minji was giggling. And Nadia. Nadia was smiling at him, that same genuine smile she gave his daughter. Dr. Park said something. Nadia laughed. Junwoo's hand tightened on his phone until the case cracked. He was downstairs in seconds, walking across the garden with measured steps. 3 pairs of eyes turned toward him. Minji brightened. Nadia's smile faltered. Dr. Park stood, professional mask sliding into place. "Mr. Kang," the doctor said, "I was just explaining to Minji about the new treatment protocol. Does it require you to be here on your day off?" Junwoo interrupted. Dr. Park blinked. I wanted to check on her progress personally. She's been doing so well lately." "Thanks to Nadia," Minji chimed in. "Dr. Park says she's the best caretaker I've ever had." Junwoo's eyes slid to Nadia, who was suddenly very interested in adjusting Minji's blanket. "I appreciate your dedication, Dr. Park," Junwoo said, voice even. "But Minji needs rest now. I'm sure you have other patients to attend to." It wasn't a suggestion. Dr. Park nodded slowly, picking up on the dismissal. "Of course. I'll see you at next week's appointment, Minji." He turned to Nadia. "It was nice talking with you." "You too," Nadia replied quietly. Junwoo watched the doctor walk away, then looked down at his daughter. "Time to go inside." "But Papa, we just got out here. Inside, now." Minji's face fell. Nadia stood quickly, gripping the wheelchair handles. "Mr. Kang, the doctor said fresh air was important, and I said inside." He met her gaze, saw the flash of defiance, the question forming on her lips. He turned and walked back toward the house before she could ask it. Later, after Minji was settled for her afternoon nap, Nadia found him in his office. She knocked once and entered without waiting for permission. "What was that about?" she demanded. Junwoo looked up from his laptop. "I don't know what you mean. Dr. Park, you practically threw him out. He was here, outside his scheduled time. It's a security risk. He's her doctor. He's a man who has no reason to be at my home outside of medical necessity." Nadia's eyes narrowed. Are you serious right now?" Junwoo stood, rounding the desk slowly. Completely. He was being kind. Something Minji desperately needs more of. She has you for that. She has me because you pay me. He was doing it because he cares. He was doing it because he wants something. Junwoo stopped in front of her. Too close. Men like him don't make house calls unless they're interested in more than their patients. Nadia's breath caught. You think he was there because of me?" "I know he was." A flush crept up Nadia's neck. That's ridiculous. And even if it were true, it's none of your business. Everything that happens under my roof is my business. I'm not your property, Mr. Kang." "No," he agreed, voice dropping. "But you live in my home. You care for my daughter. That makes you mine to protect." The word hung between them. Mine. Nadia's pupils dilated. Her lips parted slightly. Junwoo watched her process the implication, watched fear and something else flicker across her face. "I should go," she whispered. "Running away?" Being smart. She turned to leave. Junwoo's hand shot out, catching her wrist. Not hard. Just enough to stop her. She froze. "Let go," she said. "Tell me you didn't like him." "What?" "Dr. Park. Tell me you felt nothing when he smiled at you, when he made you laugh." Nadia pulled her wrist free and turned to face him. "Why does it matter?" "Because it does." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one you're getting." They stared at each other, chests rising and falling too fast. Junwoo knew he was losing control, knew he was crossing lines that shouldn't be crossed, but he couldn't seem to stop himself. "I felt nothing," Nadia said finally. "He's a nice man, that's all." "You're lying." "I'm not." She cut herself off, breathing hard. "Why are you doing this?" "I don't know," Junwoo admitted. and it was the most honest he'd been in years. Nadia shook her head and walked out. Junwoo let her go this time. Let her retreat to Minji's room, where she'd be safe from whatever this was becoming between them. He returned to his desk and pulled up the surveillance feed. Watched her wipe her eyes in the hallway before entering Minji's room. Watched her paste on a smile for his daughter. Watched her pretend nothing had happened. He called his head of security. Dr. Park is no longer authorized for house calls. All appointments moved to the hospital. And I want a full background check. Every relationship, every debt, everything. Consider it done, boss. Junwoo ended the call and stared at the screen. At Nadia, reading to Minji like her world wasn't fracturing around her. He'd built an empire on control, on knowing exactly what he wanted and taking it without hesitation. But this woman was chaos wrapped in caretaker's scrubs, and he was falling into her orbit with no plan, no exit strategy, just want. Raw, consuming, impossible want. And that terrified him more than any enemy ever had. The following week, Minji had her best stretch of days since the diagnosis. Her appetite improved. Her color returned slightly. She stayed awake for longer periods, asking questions about everything. South Africa. Africa. The world beyond Seoul's towering buildings. Nadia answered each question with patience, weaving stories that made Minji's eyes light up. Stories about the Nile, about markets filled with spices and silk, about a grandmother who taught her to heal with herbs and prayer. Junwoo listened from doorways, from his office where the surveillance feeds played, from the hallway where he stood at night, unable to sleep, watching Nadia keep vigil over his daughter. He was obsessed. He knew it, couldn't stop it. His second in command noticed first. "You're distracted," the man said during a meeting about territory disputes. "That's not like you." "I'm fine," Junwoo replied, signing off on a weapons shipment without reading the details. "You just approved double the usual order." Junwoo looked down at the paper. His second was right. He'd signed without thinking, without checking. That never happened. "Fix it," he said. "Boss, is everything okay at home?" Junwoo's eyes lifted slowly. "Why would you ask that?" "Because you've never made a mistake like this. Not in 12 years. The man hesitated. "If there's something going on, there's nothing going on. Focus on your job." The meeting ended shortly after. Junwoo went home and found Nadia teaching Minji simple Arabic phrases. "Hello, thank you." Beautiful. His daughter was laughing, butchering the pronunciation, trying again. "Papa," Minji called when she saw him. "Listen, Ana Bahebak." Junwoo looked at Nadia. "What does that mean?" Nadia's cheeks darkened. It means I love you." Minji repeated it, proud. "Ana Bahebak, Papa." Something cracked in Junwoo's chest. He crossed the room and knelt beside his daughter's bed, pulling her into a careful embrace. "Ana Bahebak, Minji." His daughter buried her face in his shoulder. Nadia looked away, but not before he saw tears gathering in her eyes. That night, after Minji fell asleep, Junwoo found Nadia on the balcony outside her suite. She was wrapped in a blanket, staring at the city lights. "You're good with her," he said from the doorway. Nadia startled, then relaxed slightly. "She's easy to be good with. She's special." "She is." He stepped onto the balcony. "But so are you." "Mr. Kong." "Junwoo." "What?" "When it's just us, call me Junwoo." Nadia pulled the blanket tighter. "That wouldn't be appropriate." "Why not?" "Because you're my employer. Because there are lines. I don't care about lines." "Well, I do." She turned to face him. "I have to. Do you understand that? I have nothing here. No family. No backup plan. This job is everything. And if I cross the wrong line, if I make the wrong move, I lose it all. You think I'd fire you? I think you're a dangerous man who's used to getting what he wants. And I think whatever this is, she gestured between them. It's not safe. Not for me. Junwoo moved closer, slowly, giving her time to retreat. She didn't. Just stood there, chin lifted, defiant even while afraid. You're right, he said quietly. I am dangerous. I've done things that would horrify you, hurt people, destroyed lives, built everything I have on violence and fear. He paused. But I would never hurt you, Nadia, and I would never take away your safety. Not for anything. You can't promise that. I just did. Words are easy, Mr. Kang. Junwoo. Words are easy, she continued, voice shaking slightly. Actions are what matter, and your actions tell me you're a man who needs control, who watches everything, who can't stand the thought of anyone getting close to me, even a doctor whose only crime was being friendly. Junwoo's jaw tightened. He wanted more than friendship. So what if he did? What does that have to do with you? Everything, he said, and the word came out rougher than intended. It has everything to do with me. Nadia stared at him. Why? Because I can't stand the thought of another man looking at you the way he did. Because I wake up thinking about you, and go to sleep thinking about you, and every moment in between is just waiting until I can see you again. Because you've gotten under my skin in a way no one ever has, and I don't know what to do about it except tell you the truth. The silence stretched. A car horn sounded somewhere in the distance. Wind rustled through the garden below. This is a mistake, Nadia whispered finally. Probably. You're my employer. I take care of your daughter. There's a power imbalance here that makes anything impossible. I know. Then why are you telling me this? Because I'm tired of pretending. Junwoo stepped closer, close enough to see her pulse jumping in her throat. Because you deserve honesty. Because maybe you feel it too. Nadia's breath hitched. I can't do this. Can't or won't. Both. She moved past him, toward the door. I'm going to check on Minji. She's asleep. Then I'll sit with her anyway. That's my job, remember? She disappeared inside before he could respond. Junwoo stood on the balcony alone, hands curling into fists. He'd never been rejected before, never been told no. It should have made him angry. Instead, it made him want her more. The next morning, Junwoo had a meeting with a rival clan, negotiations over shipping routes that had turned contentious. His second-in-command advised bringing extra security. Junwoo brought 6 men and his coldest expression. The meeting took place in a warehouse near the docks, neutral territory. The rival boss was older, scarred, with eyes that had seen too much death. You're late, the man said. I'm exactly on time, Junwoo replied, sitting across from him. Let's talk business. They went back and forth for an hour. Numbers, percentages, territories. It was almost settled when the rival boss leaned back and smiled. I heard you have a new woman in your house, he said casually. African, right? Pretty thing from what my sources tell me. Every man in the room went still. Junwoo's expression didn't change, but the temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. My household staff is none of your concern, he said evenly. Just making conversation. You know how it is. We hear things, see things. Your security is good, but not perfect. The man's smile widened. She goes to the market sometimes, buys vegetables, takes walks in the park near your building, always alone. Junwoo's hand moved to his phone under the table. texted his head of security one word. Now. Are you threatening me? He asked, voice soft and deadly. Not at all. Just letting you know that I know. That my people know. That if negotiations between us ever went poorly, well, there are many ways to hurt a man. Junwoo stood. His men stood with him. We're done here. We haven't finished. Yes, we have. Junwoo leaned forward, palms flat on the table. If anyone in your organization comes within 100 meters of anyone in my household, I will burn your entire operation to the ground. Your warehouses, your clubs, your homes, everyone you've ever cared about. Do you understand me? The rival boss's smile faded. You're overreacting. Do you understand me? The man nodded slowly. Junwoo left without another word. He was in his car immediately, phone to his ear. Where is she? At the house, boss, his head of security replied. She hasn't left all morning. Double the guards. No one in or out without my direct approval. And I want surveillance on every member of the Park clan. Every single one. Consider it done. Junwoo arrived home 20 minutes later, went straight to Minji's room. Nadia looked up from where she was helping his daughter with physical therapy exercises, concern flashing across her face. Mr. Kang, is everything... Can I speak with you? Privately? Nadia glanced at Minji, who nodded. Go, Nadia. I'm okay. They stepped into the hallway. Junwoo closed the door and turned to face her. From now on, you don't leave this building without security. Nadia blinked. What? Why? Because I said so. That's not an answer. Someone made a threat today, against people in my household. That includes you. Her face paled. A threat? What kind of... The kind that means you're not safe outside these walls anymore. He moved closer, hands flexing at his sides. I need you to trust me on this. I need you to follow the rules I set. Can you do that? Yes, but no buts. You don't leave without guards. You don't go anywhere alone. You tell me or my security chief before. You step foot outside. Understood? Nadia nodded slowly. Understood. Good. He turned to leave, then stopped. And Nadia, this is happening because of me, because of who I am and what I do. If you want to leave, if this is too much, I'll arrange a new position for you, somewhere safe, far from here, far from this life. You want me to leave? No, he said, voice rough. But I'll let you go if that's what you need. Nadia was quiet for a long moment. What about Minji? I'll find another caretaker. No, you won't find another caretaker like me. You said so yourself. She's finally getting better. Finally happy. And you want to take that away from her because someone made a threat? I want to keep you safe. Then keep me safe here. Don't send me away. Don't make me leave her. Nadia's eyes blazed. I'm not going anywhere, Mr. Kang. Not unless you physically remove me. And if you try, I'll fight you every step. Something fierce and possessive roared to life in Junwoo's chest. You're sure? I'm sure. He nodded once. Then you stay. But you follow my rules. Fine. Fine. They stared at each other, the air crackling with tension and unspoken words. Then Nadia turned and went back into Minji's room, leaving Junwoo standing in the hallway, heart pounding harder than it had during the confrontation at the warehouse. She'd chosen to stay. For Minji, she'd said. But he'd seen something else in her eyes, something that looked suspiciously like she'd chosen to stay for him, too. Over the following days, Junwoo increased security throughout the building. Armed guards on every floor, cameras in every corridor, background checks on every delivery person, every visitor, every member of the household staff. Nadia noticed. Of course she noticed. But she didn't complain. Just adapted, learning which guards were on which shifts, memorizing their names, treating them like people instead of weapons. The men loved her for it. Brought her tea during long nights with Minji, offered to run errands, joked with her in broken English and Korean. Junwoo watched it all and felt jealousy twist in his gut. One evening, he found her in the kitchen around midnight. She was making tea, humming that same Arabic song she sang to Minji. "Can't sleep?" he asked. She jumped, nearly dropping her cup. "You need to stop sneaking up on me." "I wasn't sneaking. You were distracted." "I was enjoying the quiet." She poured hot water over her tea bag. "Minji had nightmares earlier. Took a while to calm her down." "Why didn't you call me?" "Because you were in a meeting. Your assistant told me not to disturb you unless it was an emergency." Junwoo made a mental note to fire his assistant. Minji is always an emergency. "She's fine now. That's what matters." Nadia leaned against the counter, cradling her cup. "You look tired." "So do you." I asked first. A small smile tugged at his lips. "Business complications." "The threat from the other day?" "Handled." "Meaning?" "Meaning it's handled. Don't worry about it." Nadia studied him over the rim of her cup. "Do you ever tell anyone the full truth? Or is everything always need to know?" "The less you know, the safer you are. Or the more you control what I know, the more you control me." Junwoo crossed the kitchen slowly. Nadia held her ground, but her knuckles whitened on the cup. "I don't want to control you, Nadia," he said quietly. "I want to protect you. There's a difference." "Is there?" "Because from where I'm standing, they look remarkably similar." "Then maybe you're standing too close to see clearly. Or maybe you're too close to admit what you're actually doing." They were inches apart now, close enough that Junwoo could see the flecks of amber in her dark eyes, close enough to count her eyelashes, close enough to... Nadia stepped back. "I should go check on Minji again." "She's fine. I checked the monitors before I came down." "You're always watching, aren't you?" "Yes." "Doesn't that get exhausting?" "Not when it comes to the people I care about." Nadia's breath caught. "Mr. Kang, how many times do I have to tell you to call me Junwoo?" "As many times as it takes for me to feel safe doing it." "You're not safe with me." "I don't know what I am with you. That's the problem." She left before he could respond, left him standing in the kitchen with her words echoing in his head and the faint scent of lavender hanging in the air. He pulled out his phone and checked the security reports. Everything quiet. No unusual activity. No threats on the radar. But something felt wrong. Off. Like the calm before a storm. He trusted his instincts. They'd kept him alive this long. So he doubled the night security again. Added motion sensors to the perimeter. Had his tech team install panic buttons in Minji's room and Nadia's suite. 2 nights later, his instincts proved correct. The alarm went off at 3 a.m. Perimeter breach on the east side of the building. Junwoo was out of bed instantly, weapon in hand, barking orders into his phone. "Lock down the building. Get to Minji's room, now!" He ran down the hallway, heart hammering, burst into his daughter's room to find 2 of his guards already there, weapons drawn. Nadia was holding Minji, who was crying, confused and terrified. "What's happening?" Nadia demanded. "Someone tried to get inside." Junwoo moved to the window, peering through the bulletproof glass. Floodlights illuminated the garden. He saw 3 figures retreating toward the wall. His men were in pursuit. "Papa?" Minji's small voice cut through his focus. He turned, crossed to his daughter, and knelt beside her bed. "It's okay, sweetheart. Everything's okay. I promise. I'm scared. I know. But you're safe. Nadia's here. I'm here. No one's going to hurt you." Minji nodded, but didn't stop crying. Nadia held her closer, whispering soothing words in Arabic. Junwoo's phone buzzed. He answered. Report. 3 men. Armed. We caught one. The other 2 escaped over the wall. Looks like they were trying to reach the east side service entrance. Interrogate the one we caught. Find out who sent them. Already on it, boss. Junwoo ended the call and looked at Nadia. Her face was pale, but her hands were steady on Minji. Take her to my room, he said. It's the most secure location in the building. Stay there until I come get you. Where are you going? To deal with this. Junwoo? His name slipped out, probably without her realizing. Be careful. Something warm spread through his chest despite the circumstances. Always am. He left 4 guards with them and went downstairs to the security office. The captured intruder was already tied to a chair, bleeding from a head wound. Young, maybe 25. Scared, but trying to hide it. Who sent you? Junwoo asked, voice flat and cold. The man said nothing. Junwoo nodded to his head of security, who stepped forward and broke. The man's finger with a practiced twist. The scream echoed off the walls. I'll ask again. Who sent you? Park Clan, the man gasped. They paid us to scare you. Said to get close to the building. Make you think you're not safe. Why target my home? They said you have a weakness now. Said you're distracted. Said if they can't negotiate with you, they'll make you negotiate on their terms. Junwoo felt ice slide down his spine. What else? That's all I know, I swear. Another finger broke, another scream. What else? They know about the woman, the African woman. They said she's your weakness, that if they can get to her, they can get to you. Junwoo's vision tunneled. He pulled his gun and pressed it against the man's forehead. How many others are coming? I don't know. Please, I don't know. Guess. Maybe 10? 20? They were gathering people when we left. Please, I'm just hired muscle. I don't know anything else. Junwoo lowered the gun, stepped back. Get him out of my sight. Lock him up until I decide what to do with him. His men dragged the intruder away. Junwoo turned to his security chief. I want every approach to this building fortified. Lethal force authorized. No one gets close without clearance. Yes, boss. And bring me everything we have on the Park Clan. Leadership, financials, weaknesses, everything. You're going to war? I'm ending this. Tonight. He made 6 calls in the next hour. Called in favors. Mobilized his entire network. By sunrise, he had 60 armed men surrounding Park Clan territory. By noon, he was sitting across from their boss again. This time, the man wasn't smiling. You attacked my home, Junwoo said quietly. You threatened my child, my people. That was a mistake. It was just a message. And here's my message. Junwoo slid a folder across the table. That's everything I have on you. Your warehouses, your shipments, your offshore accounts, your mistress in Busan. Your son's gambling debts. He leaned forward. I can destroy all of it. Right now. With one phone call. Or we can make a deal. The man opened the folder. His face went gray. What kind of deal? You leave my territory alone. Forever. You stay out of my business. You never mention my household or anyone in it again. In exchange, I don't burn your entire world to ashes. That's not a deal. That's a surrender. Yes, Junwoo agreed. It is. The man stared at the folder for a long moment, then nodded. Fine, we have a deal. Smart choice. Junwoo stood and walked out. He was back home by evening, exhausted but satisfied. The threat was neutralized. Minji was safe. Nadia was safe. That's all that mattered. He found them in his bedroom, just where he'd left them. Minji was asleep in his bed, buried under blankets. Nadia was sitting in the chair beside her, also asleep, head tilted at an uncomfortable angle. Junwoo moved quietly across the room, crouched beside the chair, studied Nadia's face in the dim light. The exhaustion etched around her eyes, the worry lines on her forehead. She'd stayed awake all day, watching over Minji while he handled business. She'd called him by his name. She'd told him to be careful. He reached out slowly and brushed a strand of hair from her face. She stirred, eyes fluttering open. "Junwoo?" Her voice was thick with sleep. "It's over," he said quietly. "You're safe. Both of you." Nadia sat up straighter, wincing at the crick in her neck. "The men who tried to break in? Dealt with. They won't be back. No one will. You're sure?" "I'm sure." She studied his face, looking for something. Truth, maybe, or reassurance. Whatever she found seemed to satisfy her because she nodded and relaxed slightly. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For protecting us. For keeping your promise." Junwoo's throat tightened. "Always." They stayed like that for a moment, kneeling beside each other in the quiet darkness. Minji, sleeping peacefully between them. Then Nadia yawned, covering her mouth. "Sorry, I didn't sleep much. Go to your room, get some rest." "I should stay with Minji." "I'll stay with her. You need sleep." "But, Nadia." He caught her hand, held it, felt her pulse jump beneath his thumb. "Please, let me take care of both of you." She looked at their joined hands, then up at his face. "You're not as scary as you think you are." A surprised laugh escaped him. "Is that right?" "Mm-hmm. Underneath all the darkness and the danger and the watching, you're just a father who loves his daughter. And maybe," she trailed off. "Maybe what?" "Maybe someone who's learning to care about more than just survival." She pulled her hand free gently and stood, walked to the door, paused. "Good night, Junwoo." "Good night, Nadia." She left. Junwoo stayed beside his daughter's bed, hand still warm from Nadia's touch, and wondered when exactly he'd lost control of his own heart. 3 weeks passed without incident. Minji continued improving, gaining weight, staying awake longer. The doctors were cautiously optimistic. Nadia was relentless in her care, pushing Minji through physical therapy, celebrating every small victory, refusing to let discouragement take root. Junwoo watched it all, watched Nadia transform his dying daughter into a little girl who laughed and hoped and dreamed again. Watched her pour herself into someone else's child, like it was her own. Watched her avoid him in the hallways, in the kitchen, anywhere they might be alone. She was running from whatever was building between them. He was done pretending it didn't exist. One afternoon, his mother called. She wanted to meet Minji's caretaker, wanted to see for herself who had accomplished what dozens of professionals couldn't. Junwoo tried to discourage her. His mother was complicated, traditional, judgmental. But she insisted, and his mother wasn't someone who took no for an answer. She arrived on Saturday with her usual entourage, security, assistant, driver. She swept into the penthouse like a queen inspecting her kingdom, eyes sharp and assessing. "Where is she?" his mother demanded in Korean. "With Minji. I'll bring her out." "No need. I'll go to them." Junwoo followed her to Minji's room, dread building in his stomach. His mother opened the door without knocking. Nadia looked up from where she was reading to Minji, surprise and confusion crossing her face. "Grandmother," Minji exclaimed, brightening. His mother's expression softened as she moved to the bed, embracing her granddaughter. "Look at you. You have color in your cheeks again. Nadia's been teaching me exercises and stories and Arabic words. His mother's eyes slid to Nadia, who had stood and was smoothing her uniform nervously. You're the caretaker. Yes, ma'am, Nadia replied in careful Korean. I'm Nadia Hassan. African. South African, yes. His mother circled her slowly, studying her like she was examining merchandise. Junwoo's jaw tightened. Mother, how old are you? His mother asked, ignoring him. 24. Young? Too young to have much experience. I worked in pediatric care for 3 years in Cairo before coming here. And why did you leave Cairo? Nadia hesitated. Personal reasons. That's not an answer. It's the only one I'm comfortable giving. His mother's eyebrows rose. Bold. Do you know who I am? You're Mr. Kang's mother. Minji's grandmother. I'm also the widow of one of the most powerful men in Seoul. My family has connections throughout Korea and beyond. If I wanted to know your secrets, I would know them within the hour. Mother, that's enough, Junwoo said sharply. His mother turned to him. I'm simply ensuring that the person caring for my granddaughter is trustworthy. She is. I've already vetted her thoroughly. Have you? His mother's smile was thin. Or have you been too distracted by other aspects to see clearly? The Bois room went silent. Minji looked between them, confused. Nadia's face had gone carefully blank. Minji, Junwoo said quietly. Why don't you show grandmother the book Nadia gave you? His daughter, sensing the tension, nodded quickly and started chattering about South African fairy tales. Junwoo caught Nadia's eye and tilted his head toward the door. She slipped out quietly. He followed. In the hallway, Nadia was standing with her arms wrapped around herself. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause problems. You didn't. My mother is protective and traditional. She doesn't approve of change easily. She doesn't approve of me, you mean. She doesn't know you yet. Will she? Know me? Nadia looked up at him. Or am I just the help? The foreigner taking care of her granddaughter until someone more suitable comes along. You're not just anything, Junwoo said, stepping closer. And you're not going anywhere. I don't care what my mother thinks. You should care. Family is important. You're important. Nadia's breath caught. Don't say things like that. Why not? It's true. Because it makes this harder. Because I can't let myself believe. His mother's voice cut through the moment. Junwoo, a word. Now. He sighed, frustrated. Stay here. Please. Nadia nodded. Junwoo returned to Minji's room, where his mother was waiting with crossed arms. Send Minji's nurse away, she said in Korean. We need to talk. He asked one of the guards to take Minji to the garden for some fresh air, then closed the door. What's going on with you and that woman? His mother demanded immediately. Nothing is going on. She takes care of Minji. Don't lie to me. I've known you your entire life. I see how you look at her, how you position yourself between her and everyone else, how you defend her without question. His mother moved closer. You have feelings for her. Junwoo said nothing. This is inappropriate. She works for you. She's a foreigner with no family, no connections, no standing. Your father would be ashamed. My father is dead, Junwoo said coldly, and his opinions died with him. His mother's face paled. How dare you? How dare I what? Live my own life? Make my own choices? Father built this empire, but I've maintained it. Grown it. I've earned the right to make my own decisions. Not when those decisions could destroy everything we've worked for. What will people say when they find out the great Kang Junwoo is involved with his daughter's caretaker? When they learn she's African, black, do you understand what that will do to your reputation? I don't care about my reputation. Then care about Minji's. Care about what this will do to her. She's finally getting better, and you want to complicate her life with this inappropriate relationship? There is no relationship. Yet. But you want there to be. I can see it. His mother's voice softened slightly. Son, I understand. Loneliness. I understand what it's like to lose a spouse and raise a child alone. But this isn't the answer. Find someone appropriate. Someone from our world who understands. I don't want someone from our world. I don't want someone who understands the violence and the darkness and the blood. I want... He stopped, jaw working. I want someone who sees past all of that to something better. Someone who makes me want to be better. His mother studied him for a long moment. You're in love with her. It wasn't a question. Junwoo didn't deny it. Then you're a fool, she said finally. Love doesn't conquer everything. Love doesn't erase differences or smooth over complications. Love, in our world, is often a liability. Maybe I'm tired of our world. You don't get to be tired. You have responsibilities. People depending on you. Minji depending on you. She moved toward the door. Think carefully about what you're doing, because if you pursue this, there will be consequences. For you, for her, for everyone involved. She left without saying goodbye to Minji. Junwoo stood alone in the room, his mother's words echoing. He knew she was right about one thing. There would be consequences. His world didn't mix with normal people. Didn't allow for soft things, like love and hope and future. But maybe that's exactly why he wanted it so badly. He found Nadia in the garden with Minji later. His daughter was showing her the koi pond, pointing excitedly at the orange and white fish. Nadia was crouched beside her, genuinely interested, asking questions about their names and ages. Junwoo watched from the doorway, memorized the scene. The way afternoon light caught in Nadia's dark hair, the sound of his daughter's laughter, the peace of the moment. Then his phone rang. Business. Always business. He answered and walked away, dealing with problems that seemed increasingly meaningless compared to what he was leaving behind. That evening, after Minji was asleep, Nadia knocked on his office door. She entered without waiting for permission, something she never did. Your mother hates me, she said without preamble. Junwoo looked up from his laptop. She doesn't hate you. She doesn't know you. She thinks I'm inappropriate, that I'm, what did she say? A liability. You were listening. The walls are thin, and she wasn't exactly quiet. Nadia crossed her arms. She's right, though. Whatever this is between us, it's complicated. Too complicated. Life is complicated. Not like this. Not with the Mafia and the threats and the surveillance and the... She waved her hand. All of it. I can't do this, Junwoo. I can't be whatever you want me to be. I just want you to be yourself. You want me to be available, accessible, controllable. That's not true. Isn't it? You watch me constantly. You dictate where I can go, who I can talk to. You lost your mind when a doctor smiled at me. You've built a cage around me and called it protection. Junwoo stood slowly. Is that really what you think? I don't know what to think anymore. Nadia's voice cracked. I came here to do a job, to help a sick little girl. But now everything is tangled up with you and your world and your feelings. And I can't separate what's real from what's just proximity. You think this is just proximity? I think you're used to getting what you want, and I think I'm convenient. Here, available, and maybe a little bit damaged enough to actually consider. Junwoo crossed the room in 3 strides, stopped close enough that Nadia had to tilt her head back to look at him. You think I want you because you're convenient? Don't you? I want you because you're brave, because you stood up to me when no one else would, because you look at my daughter like she's precious instead of broken, because you make me feel things I didn't think I was capable of feeling anymore. His voice dropped. I want you because when I'm near you, the darkness doesn't seem so absolute, because you make me want to be more than the monster everyone thinks I am. Nadia's eyes glistened. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. I can't be your redemption, Junwoo. I can't fix what's broken in you. That's not my job. I know. I'm not asking you to fix me. I'm asking you to give us a chance, to see if maybe we could be something together. And if it doesn't work, if we try and it falls apart, what happens to Minji? What happens to me? I'll make sure you're taken care of. I don't want to be taken care of. I want to be equal. I want to be chosen because I matter, not because I'm useful. Her voice shook. Do you even see the difference? Junwoo opened his mouth, then closed it. She was right. He'd been approaching this like a business transaction, like something he could control and manage and contain. I see it, he said finally. And you're right. I've been trying to control this because that's what I do. That's how I've survived. But that's not what you deserve. What do I deserve? Better than me, he admitted. Someone without blood on his hands. Someone who can give you a normal life. Someone who won't put you in danger just by being near you. Then why are you still standing here? Because I'm selfish. Because I can't stand the thought of you with someone else. Because even knowing you deserve better, I still want you. He paused. And because I think maybe you want me too, even though you shouldn't. Nadia stared at him. You're right. I shouldn't. Everything logical says I should run as far from you as possible. But I can't stop thinking about you either. I can't stop noticing when you're in a room. I can't stop caring when you're late coming home. I can't stop. She trailed off, shaking her head. This is a mistake. Probably. We're going to hurt each other. Possibly. Your mother will never accept me. I don't care. You should care. Family matters. You matter more. The words hung between them. Raw, honest, terrifying. Nadia closed her eyes. I need time to think, to figure out if I'm brave enough for this. Take all the time you need. What if I decide I can't do it? Something painful twisted in Junwoo's chest. Then I'll let you go. I'll find you a new position, somewhere safe, and I'll spend the rest of my life wondering what we could have been. Nadia opened her eyes, looked at him like she was memorizing his face. Then she turned and walked out. Junwoo stood alone in his office, hands clenched at his sides, and tried to remember how to breathe. The next few days were torture. Nadia remained professional, polite, distant. She cared for Minji with the same devotion, but avoided being alone with him, avoided eye contact, avoided everything that wasn't strictly necessary. His daughter noticed. Why is Nadia sad? Minji asked one night. She's not sad, sweetheart. She's just tired. No, Papa. She's sad. I can tell. Did you make her sad? The question hit harder than any accusation. Maybe. Probably. I'm not very good at making people happy. That's not true. You make me happy. Junwoo pulled his daughter into a careful hug. You're easy to love. So is Nadia. You should tell her. It's complicated. Grown-ups always say that. But it's not complicated. If you love someone, you tell them. If they love you back, you stay together. That's what happens in stories. Real life isn't a story, Minji. Maybe it could be, if you tried harder. Out of the mouths of children, Junwoo thought. His 8-year-old daughter understood love better than he did. That night, he made a decision. He called his lawyer. I want you to draw up papers. Official employment contract for Nadia Hassan. 5-year term. Guaranteed position regardless of personal circumstances. Full benefits. Housing stipend. And a clause that protects her from termination based on anyone's opinion except mine and hers. Boss, that's highly unusual. I don't care. Have it ready by tomorrow. What's this about? Making sure someone knows they matter, that they're not disposable, that they have security no matter what happens. The lawyer was quiet for a moment. All right, I'll have it ready. Junwoo hung up and stared at the security feed showing Nadia reading to Minji. She was wearing the soft pink sweater he'd had delivered last week. Her hair was pulled back in a braid. She looked exhausted, but determined. She looked like everything he didn't deserve but desperately wanted anyway. The next morning, he presented Nadia with the contract. She read it slowly, eyes widening with each clause. What is this? She whispered. Security. Proof that you're not just convenient or accessible. Proof that I see you as someone valuable. Someone I want to keep in my life, regardless of anything else. Junwoo, this is too much. It's not enough. But it's a start. He paused. You said you wanted to be chosen because you matter. This is me choosing you. For Minji, yes, but also for me. And asking if maybe you could choose me back. Not now. Not until you're ready. But someday. Maybe. Nadia's hands trembled on the papers. You're really bad at this. At what? At romance. At declarations. At making things less complicated instead of more. I know. I'm working on it. She looked up at him, tears gathering. I'm scared. Me too. What if we try and it destroys everything? What if Minji gets hurt? What if it works? Junwoo interrupted gently. What if we're actually good together? What if all the fear and the complications and the differences don't matter as much as we think? That's a lot of what ifs. Life is what ifs. We can spend it afraid, or we can spend it trying. Nadia stared at him for a long moment. Then she set the contract down and stepped closer. Close enough that he could see gold flecks in her eyes again. Close enough to feel her warmth. I need you to promise me something, she said quietly. Anything. Promise that if this doesn't work, you won't punish me for trying. You won't take away my job or hurt me or... I promise. On Minji's life, I promise. You'll always have a place here. Always be safe, no matter what happens between us. She studied his face, looking for lies, found only truth. Okay, she whispered. Okay? Okay, let's try. Let's see if maybe we can be something. Relief flooded through him so intensely he almost staggered. Yeah? Yeah. But slowly, carefully, and if it gets too much, if it starts hurting Minji or... He caught her hand, brought it to his lips, pressed a kiss to her knuckles that was barely a touch, but burned like fire. Slowly, carefully. I promise. Nadia's breath hitched, her fingers curled around his, and for the first time in weeks, she smiled. Small, tentative, but real. You really are terrible at this, she said. Then teach me. Show me how to do it. Right. I don't know how either. I've never... This is new for me too. Then we'll figure it out together. They stood like that, hands clasped, in the middle of his office. while morning light streamed through the windows, and somewhere down the hall, Minji laughed at something on her tablet. It wasn't perfect, wasn't a fairy tale, but it was a beginning, and that was enough. The next few weeks were careful, deliberate. Junwoo and Nadia navigated around each other like people learning a new dance, testing boundaries, finding rhythm. He came home earlier. She lingered after Minji fell asleep. They talked about small things, safe things, South Africa, Korea, favorite foods, childhood memories. Minji noticed the shift immediately, started inviting Junwoo to join their afternoon activities, started asking if Nadia could stay for dinner, started calling them together when she needed something, like she was trying to fuse them into a unit. Smart kid. One evening, Junwoo suggested taking Minji to the aquarium. The doctors had approved longer outings. Minji was ecstatic. Nadia agreed cautiously. They went on a Wednesday when crowds would be minimal, surrounded by security disguised as regular visitors. Minji held both their hands as they walked through the underwater tunnels, sharks gliding overhead. She asked endless questions, pointed at everything, laughed when Nadia pressed her face against the glass to get closer to a sea turtle. Junwoo watched them together and felt that dangerous hope expanding in his chest again. On the way out, Minji insisted on the gift shop. She dragged Nadia toward the stuffed animals while Junwoo waited near the door. That's when he saw him. Dr. Park, the physician who'd visited his garden weeks ago. The man was with a woman, probably a girlfriend, but his eyes had found Nadia immediately. He was walking over before Junwoo could intervene. "Nadia, what a coincidence," Dr. Park said warmly. Nadia turned, surprise crossing her face. "Dr. Park, hi. I haven't seen you at Minji's appointments lately. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine. Her regular doctor handles the checkups now." "Ah." Dr. Park's smile dimmed slightly. "Well, she looks wonderful. You've done amazing work with her." "Thank you." Junwoo moved closer, deliberately positioning himself beside Nadia. Dr. Park's eyes flicked to him, then back to Nadia. "I hope I didn't overstep last time I visited," Dr. Park said carefully. "I got the impression Mr. Kang wasn't pleased." "It was a security concern," Junwoo interjected smoothly. "Nothing personal." "Of course." Dr. Park extended his hand. "No hard feelings, I hope." Junwoo shook it briefly. "None. Enjoy your afternoon." The dismissal was clear. Dr. Park nodded and rejoined his companion. Nadia looked up at Junwoo with raised eyebrows. That wasn't subtle. Wasn't trying to be. He was just being friendly. He was interested in you. There's a difference. And what if he was? What if someone else is interested? Are you going to intimidate every man who talks to me? Probably. Nadia laughed despite herself. You're ridiculous. You knew that when you agreed to try this. I'm starting to realize the full extent of what I agreed to. Minji came running over with a stuffed dolphin. "Papa, can I get this?" "You can get whatever you want, sweetheart." Minji beamed and ran back to show Nadia. Junwoo followed, but not before catching Dr. Park, watching them from across the store. The man looked away quickly. Good, Junwoo thought. Let him understand the situation clearly. Later that week, Junwoo's mother called again. She wanted to have dinner, just the two of them. He knew it was a trap, but agreed anyway. They met at an expensive restaurant his family had owned for decades. Private room, secure. His mother was already seated when he arrived. Tea poured, expression unreadable. "You're still with her," she said without greeting. "I am." People are talking. Let them talk. It's not that simple. Your reputation affects business, affects relationships with other families, affects Minji's future. His mother set down her cup. I did some research on Nadia Hassan. Junwoo tensed. What kind of research? The thorough kind. She's exactly what she claims to be. Competent nurse. Good heart. Clean record. She paused. But her presence here is complicating things. I've had 3 calls this week from associates asking about your relationship, asking if it's serious, asking if you're truly considering marriage to a foreigner. What I'm considering is none of their business. It's everyone's business when you're in your position. You can't just do whatever you want without consequences. His mother leaned forward. I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying it because I love you, because I want you to be happy. But happiness in our world comes with costs. What are you suggesting? Keep her as Minji's caretaker if you must, but don't make it more than that. Don't marry her. Don't legitimize this in a way that will cause problems for years to come. And if I love her? His mother's expression softened. Then love her quietly, privately. But don't make her your wife. Don't bring her into our world officially. It will destroy her, and it will hurt you in the process. Junwoo stood. Thank you for dinner, and for your advice. But I'll make my own decisions. Junwoo, I've lived by your rules, by father's rules, by everyone else's expectations my entire life. I've built an empire doing it. I've earned the right to choose my own path now. Even if that path leads to destruction? Even then. Because maybe destruction is worth it if it means actually living instead of just surviving. He left before she could respond, drove home with his mother's warnings echoing. She wasn't wrong about the complications, about the costs, about the way his world would react. But she was wrong about one thing. Nadia wouldn't be destroyed by his world. She was stronger than his mother realized. When he got home, he found Nadia on the balcony again. She was wrapped in a blanket, staring at the stars. He joined her silently. Your mother called me, Nadia said after a moment. Junwoo's jaw tightened. When? This afternoon, while you were out. What did she say? That I should leave, that I'm causing problems for you, that Minji would be better off with someone more appropriate. Nadia's voice was steady but quiet. She offered me money, a lot of money, to disappear. And what did you say? I told her no, that I wasn't here for money, that I cared about Minji too much to abandon her. She turned to look at him. I didn't tell her about us, about trying. I thought maybe you'd want to tell her yourself. I did tell her, tonight at dinner. She didn't take it well. She's protecting you, protecting her family. I understand that. Do you? Of course. I'd do the same if I were in her position. Nadia pulled the blanket tighter. She's not wrong, you know. I am complicating things, making your life harder. You're also making it better. Am I? Or am I just a distraction, a break from reality that will eventually wear off? Junwoo moved closer until they were standing side by side, shoulders almost touching. You're not a distraction. You're the most real thing in my life right now. That's a pretty line. It's the truth. He turned to face her fully. Nadia, I know this is hard. I know my world is complicated and dangerous, and not what you signed up for. But I meant what I said before. I want this. I want you. Not despite the complications, but maybe because of them. Because you make me want to be someone worthy of fighting for something good. What if we fight and lose? Then at least we fought. At least we tried. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. He cupped her face gently. I'm falling for you. Probably. Already fallen. And I know I'm doing this badly. And I know I'm not romantic. And I know I'm probably scaring you with how intense this is. But I can't pretend anymore. I can't act like you're just Minji's caretaker. You're more. So much more. Nadia's eyes filled with tears. I'm falling too. Have been for weeks. And it terrifies me because I don't know how to do this. Don't know how to love someone like you. Someone like me. Someone powerful. Someone dangerous. Someone who makes me feel safe and scared at the same time. Then we'll figure it out together. We'll make mistakes. We'll hurt each other probably. But we'll try. Is that enough? Nadia nodded, tears spilling over. Yeah, it's enough. Junwoo wiped her tears with his thumb, leaned down slowly, pressed his forehead against hers. They stood like that, breathing together, while Seoul glittered below them. Can I kiss you? He asked quietly. Not on the mouth. Not yet. I'm not ready for that. Then where? Nadia tilted, her head slightly, offering her cheek. Junwoo pressed his lips there, feather light, barely a touch. She made a small sound, fingers clutching his shirt. Okay, he murmured against her skin. Yeah, okay. They stayed on the balcony until the cold drove them inside. Didn't talk much, didn't need to. Something had shifted, solidified. They were really trying now, really choosing this. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. The following month was the happiest Junwoo could remember. Minji continued improving. Nadia moved through his home like she belonged there. They fell into routines, morning coffee together while Minji slept, evening walks in the garden, stolen moments in hallways where he'd catch her hand, or she'd lean against him briefly. It wasn't perfect. They argued sometimes, about his overprotectiveness, about her stubbornness, about how to handle Minji's treatment, but they always talked through it, always found middle ground. His mother stopped calling. That worried him more than her interference had. Then everything changed. It was a Tuesday. Normal. Quiet. Junwoo was in a meeting when his phone exploded with alerts. Security breach. Not at his home. At the hospital where Minji had her weekly appointment. He was in his car immediately, breaking every traffic law. Called Nadia. No answer. Called his head of security. What's happening? Someone tried to grab them in the parking garage. We stopped it, but what? Nadia was hurt. Minor injuries. She's being checked now. Minji is fine. Scared, but fine. Junwoo's vision tunneled. Who was it? Still determining. Caught 2 of them. 3rd got away. He arrived at the hospital 10 minutes later. Found Minji with 4 guards in a private waiting room. Found Nadia being treated for a gash on her arm and bruises on her ribs. She looked up when he entered, eyes wide and frightened. Junwoo! He was beside her instantly, checking her injuries, looking for blood he couldn't see. What happened? 3 men. They tried to take Minji. I got in the way. Your guards stopped them, but her voice broke. They were going to take her. They had a van ready. They knew our schedule. Someone inside, Junwoo said, voice cold and deadly. Someone told them where you'd be. He pulled out his phone and made 1 call. Lock down everything. Check every employee, every guard, every person who had access to today's schedule. I want names within the hour. He hung up and turned back to Nadia. She was crying now, shaking with delayed shock. He pulled her carefully against his chest, mindful of her injuries. You're safe, he murmured. Both of you are safe. They knew Junwoo. They knew exactly where we'd be. How is that possible? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. The doctor cleared Nadia an hour later. Minor injuries. Nothing serious. But Junwoo saw the way she flinched at sudden movements now. Saw the fear that hadn't been there before. He took them home. Tripled security. Had his tech team sweep for bugs, for leaks, for anything that might explain how his schedule had been compromised. They found it in his assistant's computer, a keystroke logger. Installed 3 weeks ago. Every email, every message, every schedule sent to outside servers. His assistant had been working for him for 5 years. Trusted, vetted, loyal, or so he'd thought. The interrogation took 30 minutes. The assistant broke easily, confessing to everything. A rival group had approached him, offered money, threatened his family. He'd given them access in exchange for protection. Who? Junwoo demanded. The Park clan. They wanted leverage. Said if they had Minji, you'd have to negotiate. Junwoo didn't let him finish. 1 bullet. Clean. Final. He made 6 more calls that night, mobilized every resource he had. By dawn, he was sitting across from the Park clan boss again. This time, there were no negotiations. You tried to take my daughter, Junwoo said quietly. The man held up his hands. That wasn't authorized. Some of my men acted independently. Don't lie to me. I have the paper trail, the payments, the messages. It all leads back to you. Kang, please, we can work this out. No, we can't. Junwoo stood. You have 24 hours to liquidate your entire operation and leave Korea. If I see you or anyone associated with you after that deadline, I'll kill every single one of you, starting with your family. You can't. I can, and I will. This is your only warning. He walked out. Knew the man would run. Men like him always did when faced with someone more ruthless. By the time Junwoo got home, he was exhausted, covered in blood that wasn't his, empty in a way he hadn't felt in years. He found Nadia in Minji's room. His daughter was asleep. Nadia was sitting beside the bed, staring at nothing. It's over, he said from the doorway. Nadia didn't look at him. Is it? Or will there be someone else next week, next month, next year? I've eliminated the threat. You've eliminated this threat. But there will be others. There will always be others, because this is your life, Junwoo. This is what you do. She finally turned to face him. I knew it intellectually. Knew you were dangerous. Knew your world was violent. But today I saw it. I felt it. I watched men try to steal an 8-year-old girl to use as leverage. And I realized this will never end. Not as long as you're who you are. I'll protect you. I don't want to need protection. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want Minji growing up knowing that any moment someone might try to hurt her to get to you. Nadia stood, wrapping her arms around herself. I can't do this. I thought I could. Thought love would be enough. But it's not. Not when the cost is this high. Nadia, please. I'm leaving. First thing tomorrow. I'll help you find a replacement. Someone good. Someone who will take care of Minji. But I can't. I can't stay here anymore. You promised. You said we'd try. I tried. And today I almost died. Today Minji almost got kidnapped. That's not trying, Junwoo. That's surviving. And I'm tired of just surviving. She walked past him, toward her suite. Junwoo followed. Don't leave, please. I'll fix this. I'll make it safer. You can't make it safe. Not completely. Not while you're still in this world. She spun to face him. I love you. God help me. I love you. But loving you isn't enough. Not when it means living in constant fear. Not when it means putting Minji in danger just by being here. Then I'll leave, Junwoo said desperately. I'll walk away from everything. The business, the clan, all of it. We'll go somewhere safe. Start over. Just the three of us." Nadia stared at him. "You don't mean that." "I do. I'll leave it all behind if that's what it takes to keep you." "And what happens in 6 months when you resent me for making you give up your entire life? What happens when the violence follows us anyway, because you can't truly escape this world? What happens when—" "I don't care about any of that. I care about you, about Minji, about us having a chance. There is no us, Junwoo. There's you and your world, and me caught in the middle trying not to drown." Tears streamed down her face. "I can't be your salvation. I can't be the reason you walk away from everything. That's too much pressure, too much responsibility. I'll just be another person you lost because of who you are." She turned and went into her suite, closing the door. Junwoo stood in the hallway, fists clenched, and felt everything he'd built crumbling. He went to his office, poured whiskey, stared at the surveillance feeds showing Nadia packing her belongings with shaking hands. His phone rang, his second in command. "The Park clan is gone. They fled to Japan, left everything behind." "Good," Junwoo said numbly. "Boss, are you okay?" "No, but handle everything for the next few days. I need time." He hung up and watched Nadia cry while folding clothes, watched her pause to look at photos of Minji on her phone, watched her fall apart the same way he was falling apart. This was his fault, his world, his violence, his choices catching up to him in the cruelest way possible. He'd thought love could conquer everything. But maybe his mother was right. Maybe in his world, love was just another liability, another weakness for enemies to exploit. He finished the whiskey and went to check on Minji. His daughter was awake now, confused. "Papa, where's Nadia?" She's packing, sweetheart." "Why?" "Because she needs to leave for a while." "But she can't leave. She promised she'd teach me more Arabic. She promised we'd go to the aquarium again. She promised." Minji started crying. "Please don't let her leave. Please, Papa. I need her." "I know. I need her too." He pulled his daughter close. "But sometimes people need to leave to stay safe, and we love them enough to let them go. That's stupid. If you love someone, you keep them. You fight for them. Sometimes fighting means letting go." Minji pulled back, looking at him with eyes far too old for 8 years. "You're giving up. You're letting her leave without really trying. That's not fighting. That's being scared." The words hit like bullets, because his 8-year-old daughter was right. He was scared, terrified of pushing too hard and breaking Nadia completely, terrified of being selfish and keeping her in danger, terrified of losing her, but even more terrified of watching her get hurt because of him. He'd faced down rival bosses, survived assassination attempts, built an empire on fear and blood. But this woman had brought him to his knees without even trying. "What do I do?" he asked his daughter quietly. "You show her you're worth the risk. You show her that love is bigger than fear. You fight, Papa. Really fight. Not with guns or threats, with your heart." Junwoo looked at Minji, really looked at her. She was wise beyond her years, brave beyond measure. And she was right. He'd been approaching this like a battle, like something to strategize and control. But love wasn't a battle. It was a surrender. He kissed Minji's forehead. "Thank you, sweetheart. You're smarter than me." "I know," she said seriously. "Now go get Nadia before she leaves." He left his daughter's room and went to Nadia's suite, knocked once, entered without waiting. She looked up from her suitcase, eyes red and swollen. "I don't want to fight anymore, Junwoo. I'm too tired. I'm not here to fight. He moved into the room slowly. I'm here to surrender. What? You're right. About everything. My world is dangerous. It will always be dangerous. And I can't promise you complete safety. I can't promise that loving me won't come with costs. He stopped a few feet from her. But I can promise that I'll spend every day trying to make it worth it. Can promise that I'll protect you and Minji with everything I have. And I can promise that walking away from you would destroy me in ways no enemy ever could. Junwoo, I'm not asking you to be my salvation. I'm not asking you to fix me. I'm asking you to stand beside me while I become someone better. Someone worthy of you and Minji. Someone who uses power to protect instead of destroy. That's not realistic. Maybe not. But I'm willing to try. I'm willing to restructure everything. To step back from the violence. To focus on legitimate business. It won't happen overnight. But it can happen. If you're willing to wait. To believe in me. Nadia shook her head. You're asking me to bet my entire life on a maybe. I'm asking you to bet on US, on what we could be if we're brave enough to try. He moved closer. You said love isn't enough. You're wrong. Love is everything. It's the only thing that matters. And I love you, Nadia. I love you so much it physically hurts. I love you enough to walk away if that's what's best for you. But I'm begging you not to make me. I'm begging you to stay, to fight with me, to build something beautiful out of all this darkness. Tears ran down Nadia's face. What if we fail? Then we fail together. But what if we don't? What if we actually make it? What if we build a life where Minji grows up safe and loved, where you're happy, where I'm someone you're proud to be with? I'm already proud of you. That's not the issue. Then what is? I'm scared, Junwoo. Terrified of losing you. Terrified of losing Minji. Terrified of loving you so much that when it all falls apart, I won't survive it. Then be scared with me. Be terrified together. But don't leave. Please, please don't leave. He was begging now. Kang Junwoo, who'd never begged for anything in his life, was on his knees in front of this woman, pleading. Nadia looked down at him, touched his face gently. You really mean this? Every word. You'd really change, really try to be different. For you? For Minji? I'd do anything. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she knelt in front of him until they were eye to eye. If I stay, if we do this, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Promise me that if it gets too dangerous, if keeping me here puts Minji at risk, you'll let me go. You won't fight it. You won't try to keep me through obligation or guilt. I promise. And promise me you'll actually try, really try to change, to build something better. I promise. On everything I have, on everything I am, I promise. Nadia searched his face, looking for lies, found only desperate truth. Okay, she whispered. Okay? Okay. I'll stay. I'll try. I'll be terrified and probably make mistakes and definitely drive you crazy. But I'll stay. Relief crashed through him so intensely he couldn't breathe for a moment. He pulled her into his arms, careful of her injuries, and held her like she might disappear if he let go. Thank you, he murmured against her hair. Thank you. They stayed like that for a long time, on the floor of her suite, holding each other, crying together, choosing each other despite everything. Eventually, Minji appeared in the doorway. Does this mean Nadia's staying? They pulled apart, laughing through tears. Yeah, sweetheart, Nadia said. I'm staying. Minji launched herself at them both, creating a tangle of arms and tears and laughter. They ended up on the floor together, a makeshift family built from pain and hope and stubborn love. Later, after Minji was back in bed, Junwoo and Nadia sat on her balcony again. He'd cleaned up, changed clothes. She'd stopped packing. "This isn't going to be easy," Nadia said quietly. "I know. People will judge us. Your mother, your associates, probably the entire city. Let them. And Minji. We have to be careful. Make sure she's protected. Make sure this doesn't hurt her." "Agreed. She's the priority. Always." Nadia leaned her head on his shoulder. "I still can't believe I'm doing this. Having regrets already? No, just amazed at myself for being this brave. Or this stupid. Haven't decided which yet." Junwoo smiled and kissed the top of her head. "Brave. Definitely brave." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city lights. Somewhere below, life continued. People moved through their ordinary days, unaware of the small miracle happening in this penthouse. Two broken people choosing to be whole together. One dangerous man learning to be gentle. One scared woman learning to be fearless. And one little girl finally getting the family she deserved. Over the next 6 months, Junwoo kept his promises. He restructured his organization, delegating the violent aspects to trusted lieutenants, while focusing on legitimate business. It was messy, complicated. Some people left. Others questioned his leadership. He didn't care. He was building something better. Nadia stayed, through the complications, through the judgment, through the moments when fear tried to drive her away. She stayed because she'd made a promise, too. Minji thrived. Her health continued improving. She gained weight, started attending a specialized school for chronically ill children, made friends, laughed more than she cried. Junwoo's mother eventually came around, slowly, reluctantly. But she saw how happy Minji was, saw how devoted Nadia was, saw how her son had transformed from a man surviving to a man living. She still didn't fully approve, probably never would. But she stopped interfering. And that was enough. 1 year after the hospital attack, Junwoo took Nadia and Minji to South Africa. They visited the places Nadia had told stories about, walked beside the Nile, explored markets filled with spices and silk, met her grandmother, who blessed their union even though it wasn't official yet. On their last night in Cairo, Junwoo proposed, not with fanfare or grand gestures, just the three of them on a rooftop, watching the sunset paint the city gold. "I know I'm not perfect," he said, holding a simple ring. "I know I've done terrible things. But you make me want to be better. You and Minji. You're my family. You're my home. And I'm asking. I'm begging. Please let me spend the rest of my life proving that I'm worthy of you." Nadia was crying. "You already proved it. Every single day. Every choice you've made. Every time you've chosen love over violence. You've already proved it." "Is that a yes?" "That's a yes, you ridiculous man. Of course it's a yes." Minji cheered. Junwoo slipped the ring on Nadia's finger and kissed her cheek, her forehead, her hands. Not her mouth. Not yet. They were saving that for their wedding day. Building anticipation. Making it mean something. They married 6 months later. Small ceremony. Just close family and friends. Minji was the flower girl. Junwoo's mother cried, though she'd never admit it. When the officiant finally said they could kiss, Junwoo cupped Nadia's face gently. "Last chance to run." "Not going anywhere," she whispered. He kissed her slowly, carefully, like she was precious, like she was everything. And she was. 2 years after the wedding, Nadia discovered she was pregnant. Minji was ecstatic, already planning everything the baby would need, already insisting she'd be the best big sister in history. Junwoo was terrified and thrilled in equal measure. Another person to protect, another person to love, another reason to keep building something better. Their son was born on a spring morning, healthy, perfect, with his mother's dark eyes and his father's stubborn jaw. They named him Karim. It meant generous, noble, someone who gave without expecting return. The kind of man Junwoo was learning to be, the kind of man he wanted his son to become. Standing in the hospital room, watching Nadia hold their newborn while Minji cooed over her baby brother, Junwoo felt something he'd never thought possible. Peace. Complete. Absolute. Peace. "Thank you," he whispered to Nadia. "For what?" "For staying. For believing in me. For giving me this. All of this." Nadia smiled. "Thank you for being worth the risk." Minji looked up at them. "Can we take a family picture?" "Of course, sweetheart." They gathered together, Junwoo's arms around his wife and daughters and son, smiling for a photo that would hang in their home for years to come. Proof that love could conquer violence, that hope could overcome darkness, that broken people could build something beautiful if they were brave enough to try. It wasn't perfect. They still argued sometimes, still faced challenges, still navigated the complications of Junwoo's past. But they were together. They were a family. They were living proof that redemption was possible, that love was stronger than fear, that choosing each other every single day was enough. And in a city that never slept, in a penthouse that had once been a fortress, a former Mafia boss held his family close and finally understood what it meant to truly live. Not just survive, not just exist, but live. Fully. Completely. Without apology. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing a man can do is let himself be vulnerable. Let himself love. Let himself hope. And sometimes that danger is exactly what saves him. This story reminds us that transformation is possible when we choose love over fear, that healing often comes from unexpected places, and that the courage to be vulnerable is the greatest strength of all. Real change requires sacrifice, consistency, and the willingness to become better versions of ourselves for those we love. Family isn't always born. Sometimes it's built through choice, devotion, and unwavering commitment to each other's well-being.